Welcome to Lee Does Stuff. Today we will be doing a paint conversion on a grand staircase. So as you can see here, this staircase is a dark in color, and we will be transforming it into a white staircase with black accents. So let's just look over the project here. The staircase is in two pieces. I just walked through the top part, and now I'm about to go through the second phase of the staircase to the basement. As I walk through this project, I am already planning in my head how I'm going to attack the strategy of transforming these stairs. So I'm just looking everything over. I'm looking every angle, top to bottom, left to right, and I am just trying to figure out, how am I going to do this? Well, the first thing what we're going to do is we're going to take a 120 grit sandpaper, and we're going to do a light buff scuff over the whole project. And this wood is in very good condition as it is. So basically, I just want to rough everything up so that the paint takes better. When sanding, an important note to recognize is we do not want to hit any of the bars. See the bars there? We do not want to get our sandpaper anywhere near there because we cannot scratch those metal bars. So just be mindful of that if you come across metal bars on a staircase and you want to keep them in the condition that they are. Stay away from sanding them. I actually spent 8 hours sanding this staircase top to bottom. So you just have to have patience when you do these projects. And stay away from that. We do not want to hit that bar. We do not want that sandpaper coming into contact with that metal bar. Very important to recognize. So what I was saying is that you really have to take your time when you do a project like this that's this intricate. And put some tunes on or a podcast and just get to work. It is a long 8 hours. It's very meticulous, and make sure you wear a mask. You don't want to be breathing in all this fine dust. It'll be hard to sleep that night if you forget your mask. So that footboard there, this footboard here, that's going to be dark, and then the riser or the kickboard is going to be white. So that is the plan. That is the task we've been given. And we just continue on doing what we do here. All right, we're coming near the end of all the sanding. It's been a long 8 hours, and we're not quite finished yet. I did a little bit of overtime, and we're going to hit sort of the ceiling part right here, which is kind of interesting because on most staircases you wouldn't have to contend with something like this, but it's kind of neat. So I'm going to take the pole sander here, and I'm going to rough it up because I can't quite reach. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the ceiling of this top portion of the staircase, I just want to see how it turns out. I think it's going to look really, really cool. And like we did on the top portion of the stairs, we're going to repeat the process on this bottom section here, scuff sanding the riser there, the kickboard, and working our way up through the stairs, just like we did on the top portion. A very important note is when you're dealing with paint, you really need to make sure that there is no dust anywhere. If there is dust, it mixes with the paint. The finish gets thrown off. It doesn't look as good. So cleanliness is very important, especially when we're working in such a meticulous area. It is so important to get all the fine dust, dirt, and debris out of all the cracks and crevices so that when you start painting, you're going to have the best bite possible. So I have finished vacuuming. Now I have a damp rag. And now I'm taking it one step further. I'm going to wipe everything down. I'm wiping everything top to bottom with that rag. Again, we are making sure that when we start laying paint on these stairs, that we are going to get the best bite possible, and we're really going to get a very nice finished product. So remember, in painting, details matter. It's details, 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 and prep, prep, prep. If you can get the details and the prep out of the way, painting becomes meditative. It becomes fun. It becomes, it just, you get into a groove in a zone uh, once you have the proper setup in place. And now the most tedious part of the project, taping and masking. So I'm going to be using two different types of tapes. I'm going to be using this yellow frog tape and this just regular blue painter's tape. The yellow frog tape is going to be put anywhere where the paint is going to meet the surface. So I'm going to use the yellow frog tape for all my crisp lines. So anywhere where the paint meets tape, I will be using that yellow frog tape. The blue tape is going to be more to hold the masking down when I start using the paper. And so here we go. Let's get right into it. And yes, we will be doing every bar like this. We're going to be doing the bottom portions as well as the top portions. And we just want to make sure that we're creating a really nice straight line. So wherever that surface meets with the tape, we want it to be as straight as possible. And if we're using multiple pieces of tape, really take the time to line up where your previous line was so you can continue it on with the second piece of tape. So right there, I'm starting to tape off the portion of the stairs where your feet go, because we want to keep that dark. Like we took time with sanding and cleaning and getting the areas prepped, the tape job is just as important, if not even more important, than the cleaning process. Because how you lay down your tape is that's the line that you're going to get in the finished product. So you really want to make sure that it's straight. And when you get into these corners, you kind of want to rip. You kind of want to rip so that it's to a point when you get in there. You can't just leave it square. If you need to, rewind the tape a little bit and watch that again. I did do a freeze frame there. But ultimately, it's not a very hard process if you take your time. Maybe even have a pair of scissors so that you can really get into those corners nicely, cut that tape nicely and get into the corners. So we're continuing on. I've done the bottom ones and now we're going to do the top. It's a little bit tricky on this top portion because of the rake of the banister. So you just have to do the best you can to create the line. And because it's under the banister, you're not going to notice it as much. Okay, so now we're going to be masking off the stairs. And we just want to protect the top portion like this. This is a good example of the finished product. We're almost ready to paint. We have the surfaces covered that we don't want any paint, and this is going along nicely here, but the really big trick is going to be covering all these spindles. Yes, every single spindle is going to need to be covered because just the way the metal is on these spindles, these little metal railings that are holding the top portion of the banister to the bottom, they will absorb paint, and it is very difficult to get paint off, especially how we will be starting with a primer coat, and primer coat is very bondable, especially when you use a special bonding primer, which is what we will be using. So you see here my technique, it's again, I'm using the blue tape here. It's better for fastening things, and no paint will be coming into contact with that I need to create a perfect line. It's just holding the masking in place, and the blue tape is a lot cheaper than frog tape. So anywhere where there's a lot of foot traffic or places you need paint to be really strong, then definitely you need to go with the blue tape. So let's just take in this dark staircase one last time because it is going bye-bye. So let's grab this bondable primer and let's get started. I didn't wrap the spindles here at the very top portion of the stairs. It's a very tiny section, and there's no painting above it. So I figured I would save probably about 40 minutes of work here and be able to paint a lot quicker. So that's what I'm doing. So this is not the finished color we will be using, although it will look similar because white is white, and there's different forms of white, I guess. You get creamy colors and whatnot, but basically it is going to be just a really nice white with low sheen and just very rich in its color. But first we need to prime, and this primer from Sherwin-Williams I find is very good. If you've ever used another primer called Stix is an amazing primer as well, but I find that this bondable primer from Sherwin-Williams is just as good, if not better. And I would say that it dries quicker than Stix, which is nice. I will say that when you're priming, I definitely would let the primer set up for 24 hours before you start painting. Even though that it feels dry to the touch, you really want it to soak into the wood, and you want to give it the time to really just bite, because you'll notice a big difference between primer as from paint is that primer, especially this bondable primer, it goes on, it almost feels thick, and when it's dry and you touch it, it has a very thick texture to it that paint doesn't. Paint is very smooth and kind of slippery and provides a nice finish. The bonding primer feels kind of heavy, and it almost feels kind of sticky, which is what you want, because we really want that paint to bite, and we do not want chipping to happen when people's hands are all over the railings and whatnot. Just looking at all the angles and all the areas that I have to hit on this staircase, I'm thinking that it's going to be at least a minimum of 3 to 4 coats. Not on the big areas like I'm doing the riser there. Not on areas like that, but in all the nooks and crannies around the spindles, just from experience working on staircases. For some reason, 2 coats, it's amazing how it's just not enough. So don't get discouraged if you do 2 coats and it's still looking blotchy in some areas. If you have to do 5, if you have to do 6, that's what it takes to get the job done. That's what you need to do. So just kind of throw the book a little bit away on a project like this, because it's just not going to work. Well, here we go. So we're starting to get the beginning glimpses of what this staircase is going to look like there. And I'm thinking that this is really going to brighten up this whole house. It was a little dark and dreary before, and now we're going to just have this central piece to the living room, and you're going to have this grand staircase, this 2-piece staircase, and I just think it's going to look fantastic. Okay, so I've let this bonding primer set up for 24 hours, and it's really early morning, and now this is where I'm going to be caulking any areas, any cracks that I see. And remember to also do your light buff scuff over the entire project. All right, we're going to be using this emerald trim paint. This will be our top coat. It's It's called White Dove, and let's get into it. And just basically like we did before with the primer coat, we've sanded everything down, and man, the paint just takes so nicely to this bonding primer. It's it's just really, really nice. So now, what did I say before? You know, we did the work, we did the groundwork, we did the prep, and now we can just, you know, get into the joy of painting, and that's what I've been doing. Just working my way all over this project. Look, it's already coming together. So I am surprised because one coat is looking pretty good. We've had really good coverage with this product, but because of all the traffic that's going to be happening on the railings and keys falling, stuff falling out of the pockets, whatever life brings you, we want to make sure that the surface is protected, and therefore I will be doing 3 to 4 coats. All right, so I have done my 4 coats. Now becomes another very, very, very grinding on the soul process is removing masking. And it can be a little hard to remove tape like I'm doing there. I'm just lightly scoring the tape with my X-Acto knife. Once the paint is on there, it kind of like bakes the tape together, so it just doesn't unravel like it would when it's like when you pull a fresh roll of tape out of the package. So you just gotta take your time and try not to go insane. Okay, so here's the finished project. I have my 4 coats of paint on, and if you can believe it, I had to do, I guess we're gonna go half of a 5th coat, because in certain areas they still needed touching up, especially in the ceiling portion, in some corners and whatnot. But I mean, this turned out really nice. I mean, it looks like glass. Just the right amount of sheen, not too shiny, not too flat. What a transformation! I really, really like the black and the white together. It really pops. Makes the whole room look bigger. And so, man, I mean, we're talking a pretty big difference here. So let's just compare how it looked before here coming up. Let's just do one last scan here. Wow, really, really nice. A lot of work, a lot of hours. So here is before. All right, so again, it doesn't look too bad. It's looking pretty good, looking pretty good. Let's go down the second part of the stairs. Again, looking pretty good. The roof of the top section of the stairway, and now after, look at that. I mean, I guess it does come down to personal taste, but for my money, I think that this turned out really, really nice, and the clients were extremely happy with it. So there you have it. So I hope you all have the confidence to transform a staircase yourself, and I just am so excited the way this turned out, and I hope that it helps you out there. So good luck with your projects, and thank you so much for watching.